I'm back. I'm on a mission to finish this mission. So when we left off, I was in the middle of the Long Shadow Falls. Let's see. Where? Looks like right at the bottom of the page is where we left off. Alright, so. I'm a little worried that the swap Aldris's demise is not checked. Because I did that. Anyway, I'm here. Let's look at the map. Okay, so we still need to steal the chalice. That's the main thing we have left to do, right? Steal the chalice. I don't know where the chalice. Don't let them see you. Don't kill anybody. Leave the premise. Steal the chalices. Leave the premises. I think I have a pretty good handle on leaving the premises. I've done it multiple times already. But stealing the chalice, I don't know. We'll see. So let's look at the map. We are here, the very southern, on the first floor. We are here. We're in this little space here. The map detail on this mission, I will say, is very good. So, where have we not seen? We have not really seen the inner garden. I don't think we've seen this hall. And we haven't seen the game room. I think we've seen all the rest of it, more or less. We haven't spent a lot of time in the foyer. We haven't spent a lot of time in the front yard. So, those are places where we could find the chalice. So let's kind of wander up this way, go through this hall, and through the game room. Hello, Shane Mullen of South Australia. Isn't most of civilized Australia South Australia? Am I getting that right? I hope I didn't just insult all of North Australia, but that was the impression I got. That most of the settlements were in the south? No? Or I may have just demonstrated my ignorance of geography. Please set me straight on where the population of Australia actually is. Anyway, let's move on. All right, we're gonna head up to. Head up to here. Oh, the box isn't closed. Maybe that's a problem. Let's close the box. Oh, and now we've completed that objective. Oh, there's a note. Alarm system instructions. Alright. There's somebody who's around. I'm on kind of a... There he is. I'm on kind of a loud spot here. Alright, so here's the hall. We're looking for a chalice. We've cleared out a lot. I hear some noise. We've cleared out a lot of the guards. Here's the game room. Okay. Looks like there might be a guard in the game room. Is that possible? There is.
Thought I heard something.
Well.
Don't see anything now.
Dan Thron. That's the voice of Dan Thron.
What's going on over there? Come back out here, you tapper!
Nope. Crouch.
Don't worry. I'll find you. Just the wind, I guess. Show yourself! Come on now, come on! Seems peaceful enough now. What was that noise? I don't see anything now.
Oh, that's bright. I robbed him, no? Oh, it might be bright just because it was high lit. See, bud. I don't know. Hopefully no one comes and sees that. I was kind of hoping that little thing in the middle of the roulette wheel was the chalice, but it didn't seem likely that the chalice was going to be in the game room, but maybe there's some... You spend a lot of time looking at this painting. Maybe there's some trick here. There's been other tricky stuff. That's for sure. I don't think I've been in this spent much time in this bar area either. I'm just getting lots of loot extra credit this time. Where? If I were a chalice, where would I be? I've pretty much cleared out a lot of the... I've cleared out a lot of the stuff. Doggy guy. I don't know if doggy guy goes through here. Oh, this is like a little viewing gallery. I don't think I've been up here much. Like second floor of the ballroom. Still there. Yikes! Oh, this is... Alright, well, that wasn't very bright. I didn't save neither. Okay. Let's, Oh, wait. This is my most recent. Yeah, so I probably did... Oh, I didn't fully close the box on this. just kind of run. No one's really around. Alright, let's look around the pool for... Where would you keep a chalice slot? I didn't see anything in the game room. But there was that. Where's the library? Library's upstairs, I think. This back staircase is pretty safe because I knocked out all the guards who patrol there. Killed one of them. What's this oddness in this texture in the... Oh, is this the garden? Alright, maybe we should stake out the garden. I'm gonna save. Come on, this is dark. Okay. The inner garden does seem like a pretty friendly place to traverse the house because it's got all this nice, soft, quiet grass. A lot of darkness. A lot of guards around. But that's not a guard. That's a civilian, I think. Alright, let's try and find this place. What has been my favorite mission so far? You know, I've been on such a long hiatus that I'm not sure I remember. What is... I kind of liked the recent one that was the Keeper headquarters. That was pretty funky. Trying to remember. Well, what's your favorite mission so far? Or of the whole thing? Maybe you've done the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe you've done none of it. They've all been interesting.
All right, I hear you. Come out in the open at once. Come back out here, you tapper!
You know what? We can just run through here. Oh, you know what? We never explored up here. Maybe we should do that now. Where's my rope? Last rope arrow. Okay, here we go. Wait, why am I not? No! Oh, come on! Okay, one of you guys has to tell me other one of you Australians has to explain like can you give me like the 101 geography lesson here, because I don't want to be ignorant. All right. Where's this? Alright, this is the... Yeah, okay, yes. You're in the southern hemisphere. I got that part.
I see you there. Who
geez.
is that?
Is he gonna pull the alarm, do you think?
Come out here, I dare! Hey!
No, alright. You know, but I just in terms of like where's the stuff, like, you know, what parts of Australia are what? Like my mental model of Australia is like there's one coast that's got all the people on it and the rest of it is like wilderness. But maybe maybe I'm wrong. Oh jeez. Alright, hold on. This conversation is not actually conducive to my survival here. Sorry. Alright, let's walk another place. And we were gonna... Locked door, okay. We like locked doors, because there's a reason for them to be locked. We got too many keys, though. Maybe we should have... Did we, like, ever just sort of give you a key ring at some point and say, you can just use your key ring on all your key, you know, and it's got all your keys? That would have been kind of us.
Did a shadow just move?
Shit. Alright, there we go.
I don't have time to play games. Well, not that kind of games.
I see. So there's an actual, like, capital S South Australia that you're referring to. Okay.
I hate bloody rats.
It's not like the southern U.S. It's not like a... So that's just a lowercase concept. Have I seen this tribute to the... There was one that was pretty wacky. That had like a lot of wackiness. Where's this? Oh, this is the bar. Okay, this is not a great place to stand. Okay. Turn the blackjack off. So one of the things is, you know, this this light gem is pretty much just a... I don't want to go this way. This light gem is pretty much just a model swap. It was just done as... The different grades were done as... It might be a texture swap. Different, like... like there's like only 8 or 16 textures for the model, so like there's only that much resolution to the visibility meter, whereas maybe there's more. I thought we made 0 be 0, but I'm not sure. Like if your gem is fully dark, does that mean that you're at absolute 0, or is there a little wiggle room in there? Right, maybe I do want to just shuffle across here real quick. Got a lot of moss. How many moss arrows I have left? I have no moss arrows left. I feel like I missed my opportunity to make an Uno Moss pun. But oh yeah, that's what I was doing. I was exploring this. Let's save. But yeah, for whatever reason, my screaming schedule is much more conducive to folks from... I feel like we get a lot of folks from east, pretty far east. I'm having trouble with the rope. sure. Maybe I have to reposition it? That's going to be tricky to do without just reloading. Yeah, I play at night, so... What do you think? No! It really comes close to the... Maybe I need to stand further back. Yeah, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Where did I put it? There we go. That seems like a good... Seems like... Come on, get me on there. Thank you. There's a greenhouse. Maybe this is the sort of place where one locks one's chalice. Is that a euphemism? Locking one's chalice? No, I can sneak right in there. Oh, no, no, no. It's not a greenhouse. It's an open roof. It's a skylight. Somebody else coming?
Who goes there? Might have dented the armor a little. That the best you can do?
Apparently it is.
Dodge!
Easier than saving. Alright, here we go. Get this situation. These don't open, do they? No. And this is just an alternate way in. Seems good though, but where does this lead? Oh, we're in the rafters.
Sir? Was that you? Oh, well.
See the
Don't know
black
what it was.
jackable? He's carrying a light source. That's pretty cool. Oh, the rain. Oh, the rain is cool. So I'm having my roof done, and it's really expensive, and so this is causing me a little bit of trauma right now. Oh, and this is way down. Okay. But is this where you hide your chalice? Not a euphemism. I'm really looking for where you hide your chalice. Yeah, it's not a... My situation is not a... my roof situation is not an emergency per se, but it is It was in worse shape than perhaps I expected when I had somebody look at it. Oh, interesting. Oh, like, look, it's completely dark. And now it's bright. Oh, but I can turn it off. Oh, good. Oh, what's this? Is that a rope arrow? Sweet. It's like, if you're mucking around up here, you're probably going to need a rope arrow, too. Like an arrow. Oops. Money. I'm like... living large. Disruption bomb? I'm living large right now in terms of loot, I feel like. How much loot do I have? 21. That's awesome. People are in chat making friends. Honestly, any two people who both watch this stream probably have something in common. Where is this? I don't know, but it's a nice little... This looks like the gallery? Maybe it's the... Is that the ballroom? Where is that? Or is that the pool? Is that the bar? This is the ballroom. We're above the stage. No, it's not the ballroom. Where are we? Hopping on the chair. This is the ballroom, I think. Yeah, there's the stage. Oh, you know what? I don't know that I've been here either. Let's look at the map. South of the ballroom. Oh, you know what? Maybe I haven't been in this area here. Yeah, I don't think I've been in this whole wing. Dining room. Yeah, I don't think I've been in this dining room. Have I? I think I was in the small dining room. This is the big dining room. Anything edible on here? Some loot, though. Yes. Don't really have the patience for the lore dumps. Feel bad about that, but only a little.
Is that you? Seems clear enough now. Who goes there?
and I think I'm gonna end up.
I'm glad the Lord finally spent some pennies to renovate this old mansion. Why would he wait so long? We spent at least 6 winters trying to prevent our hands from freezing with rotten wood and stolen coal.
Carlton told me it's because his fancy townhouse in New Quarter is under heavy renovations in order to match the new style with white brickworks and fluted columns.
Hey,
and
T12.
all that stuff. He couldn't stand the noise and dust any longer and needed calm to concentrate. So he came back here, but then he found the severe lack of comfort disturbing. Said he didn't feel safe, too.
What? This place is like a fortress. You can't even go to the privy without at least 3 security checkpoints. And the periscope watching your steps all the way through.
Beats me, but I think he's in serious trouble. You can tell by the way he's mumbling to himself.
Oh, he's in trouble, all
I
right.
tried to eavesdrop on him last night. He said something about fleeing the city for a while.
Oh, wow. DeWall isn't the sort to be afraid. It must be the trickster himself who's haunting him.
What's that? Who knows what it was?
There's not a lot of dark spaces here. I guess I could put the fire out.
Oh, I hate rats. Who's that?
Hey!
Oh no! Is the alarm gonna sound? I left a body back there. That wasn't the smartest play on my part. Haven't saved it in a while either. Oh, there he is. I don't think it matters much, but I'm a very sloppy thief. But DeWall wronged me, so he deserves to have all his guards murdered. Oh wait, there's up here. Okay. Alright, let's look around here. Corpses love company. Alright, so there's like this little frobby-doo up here. Is that actually probable? Well, it seems like it ought to be probable, but maybe not. Wait, is this like a grow room? Is this guy like... Is this like guy growing weed in his like little hydroponics facility. Well, yeah, so it yeah, crazy big oblong box. I got one up there. Yes, well, in fact, most copies of Thief came bundled with Sound Blasters, so there's no shame in having like an OEM version of Thief, because there were an awful lot of those. What's this? What's out here? Which way am I facing? I'm facing north. Oh, is this the greenhouse? Quote unquote. Oh yeah, I see. It's got... I see. Those are supposed to be skylights. So this is technically a greenhouse. So here I am in the greenhouse. And there's this little duder up there. Oh, it's loot. Are these guys loot? Man! I totally should have played this game on expert, this mission. No, because I've killed a lot of people. Alright. Alright, private study to the right. Okay. And then there's a guest room. Okay. Private study. Seems like a place where you might hide your favorite chalice. Especially if it's locked. All this loot. Alright. Alright, I should like... Workers. Do I want to know what that's a reference to? Just really want to look around for little secret switches and stuff, because this seems like the sort of place that would have one. That foot is strangely shiny. So yeah, it occurred to me long after the fact that yesterday I was talking about how I noticed like, oh, this texture looks like it's a secret door from Doom, and it totally was a secret door. But I didn't connect the dots on that until like much later after I stopped streaming. But yeah, it was a secret door. You just had to open it from the other side. All right, got a privy here. A bathtub. Those cool astrolabe things should totally be loot. They look cool. They look looty. Just racking up the loot, looking for this chalice. The chalice in one of the briefings was described as locked up. Here's a nice little pool of darkness. That should save. Once again in the upper ballroom. It's out here. Just a windows. Just the outside world. Are these loot? If those weren't loot, I was going to be really mad. But they are, so that's good. I don't know I want to go out that door. It's not like the giant Lady Godiva, right? This painting seems very prominent. I don't know if there's a good way to access it, though. Paintings. So I'm just gonna read this aloud from the chat. Shane Mullen says,
Can't wait to see their faces when I show them my latest acquisition. Who are you, and how dare you break in here? Guards, there's a cut purse.
wow, that guard's deaf. Anyway, Shane Mullen 666 says, I played Lord Bradford demo and I was hooked. Bought Thief the Dark Project the next day on March 26, 1999 on my birthday, along with a Sound Blaster Live with 4 Cambridge speakers to play Thief with the EAX. It was an amazing experience. And, you know, that's awesome. And it's pretty hard to have an experience now, right? Like, the EAX is not easy to support. And stuff like that. So this is still a pretty cool experience. I didn't loot here before. Oh, here's the game right now. Behind the bar is probably a good place to put a body. Nice. Your brother plays Thief 1 and 2 every year before Christmas. It's like a Thief Advent. So yeah, many of you have probably seen that they're making a Thief VR game. You know, I'm cautiously hopeful about that. I mean, obviously, I think Thief is like the first person is kind of what makes Thief, and VR is kind of a good way to do that. I'm worried that I personally will get motion sickness playing it, but I'll get some Dramamine and try. And they have Steven Russell, which is nice. You know, I think that, you know, I don't know anything about who's working on it. You know, obviously, Embracer at this point owns the franchise. And Embracer has a lot. Well, they own Eidos. Eidos has the franchise, and Embracer owns Eidos. And so there's, you know, potentially a lot of different things they could do with Thief. And, you know, my viewing of the trailer was, this was made by somebody who, like, wants it to be good. Like, who wants it to be a Thief game. Whether they'll succeed at that, I don't know. I am, as I say, cautiously hopeful. Oh yeah, I don't know if they can. You know, you know what? I never played 2014, so I don't know how I feel about the humor of it. And if you do play VR games, or if you have a VR headset and you have not played The Last Clockwinder, like, honestly, just stop watching me and do that instead, because, like, that game is just an absolute delight. Yeah, it is hard to make single player. Yeah, I don't know how good Arcane's doing. Alright, there's the... Is this the library? Right. The library seems like a place where one might... Though I felt like I did scan this a fair amount for secret frobbies. Because the library is an obvious place to put a secret frobby. Although, you know, there was that secret under table frobby that I found before, and maybe I should be looking for more of those. But there was that one article about, like, how dare they make Thief into VR, and not sure I agree with that. So. I did enjoy Dishonored. I don't know if that question was directed at me or elsewhere when in chat, but I did. Chalice. Move to my private second floor study. Oh my god, it's a clue. Private second floor study. It's in there. Damn it. Where, though? So where am I? I am just above the library. So I could traverse back this way. No, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I'm just, like, you know. I don't want to butt into anybody's chat if you're just chatting. But, yeah, I did play Dishonored 1 and 2. In fact, I did live stream all of Dishonored 2, except for the last mission, which I never played. But, you know, I didn't make a big deal out of it, and I don't have the videos anymore. I don't think. I can look around. I don't think I actually recorded a video. I think I just, like, pushed stream. But, yeah, I think I really like Dishonored. And I'm kind of jealous of Blink as a mechanic, because I think that solves a lot of problems with, you know, movement. Yeah, it's not up on my YouTube. I don't know that I have the videos anywhere. Like, I don't know that it was just, you know, sort of earlier in my sort of streamer life. Is that a dude? And, I'm just gonna watch you through the glass. Is that a dude or is that a chair? That might just be a chair. Where's the private study? Okay, it's through the dining room. Okay. Dining room, or we can go around this way. So it's in the private study. We got the clue that it's in the private study. But where? Oh! See it right away. Where's that? What happened? What did it change? What changed? I pulled something. Oh, there's the...
How many times am I gonna have to steal this thing?
How many times, indeed. So now I just need to get out. I have a lot of good ways out. I did not see that Raph interview. Alright, so where was all of that through the attic stuff? But really all I need to do is get down a floor. I mean, I can pretty much run out from here, right? I should save. Alright, all I have to do is... Oh, but I can't run out because I can't get caught. But I'm in good shape. Well, the stream is going to be much shorter than the last one. I just need to... Actually, let's look out here. See if there's a path out. This looks like the front yard. It's not clear. It's not clear that there's a way down, though. Not clear that there's a safe way down. Where is this? No, this isn't the front yard. This is the... This is the side yard. Wait. Did we get out? Is that out? Alright, that was a little lame. But okay, I'll take it. Well, this is much shorter. 4 hours to do the first bit. Should have just played another hour, I guess. What did I think of this mission? I thought it was just okay. I think I was a little frustrated at the beginning. Yeah, hooray, victory. I think I was a little bit frustrated at the beginning because of the guards. I didn't save. Oh, can I save now? Okay, I can save now. Yeah, like you're out in the street, you know, in the middle, in the city, you know, you're not on anyone's private property, and yet the guards are like just want to mess you up, right? And maybe that's explained somewhere, like there's a curfew or something, I don't know, but like some amount of, it's nice if there's some amount of casing the joint, you know, at the beginning. And in particular, not always, obviously, you know, you can break with that pattern, and maybe that was the point of this one, but it didn't feel like this felt like another, you know, get in, get the loot, get out mission, as opposed to, say, Assassins from Thief 1, which, or, you know, some of the other ones that are a little bit wackier in terms of, like, what you're supposed to do. So to the extent that it is a, you know, standard get in, get the loot, get out mission, it was annoying to me that, like, there wasn't any safe space at the beginning, especially, like, there's a guard basically running straight at your face at the very beginning, and if you do any amount of exploring, like, you might get in trouble, right? You almost have to wait. Yeah, I mean, it is a very standard mission, you know. So that was a little frustrating. Obviously, like, missing the... I mean, I guess there were 2 entrances to the building that I found. Maybe 3? There were 2 entrances that I found. The crazy jumping one that I did, and then the manhole that you have to use for the corpse, I think. Maybe there's another way in. There was that... once you got onto the, like, balcony, I could have barred up and gone up in the rafters and gone through that way, but it didn't seem like there was a way to get the corpse through the balcony, you know. It might have been, like, too much to ask of this engine, but it would have been very amusing if, like, you had to, like, you know, put the corpse on a zip line or something and send it ahead of you or something, or you know, or maybe if there was some kind of Weekend at Bernie's thing going on where you have to, like, stand the corpse somewhere and make it look like a drunk guy or something. I think the map design was cool once you got inside. But yeah, once you got inside, it was like, yes, this is a house. This is someone's big mansion. Like, it follows a kind of logic. You know, the kitchen is near the dining room, you know, kind of thing. It follows a kind of logic, you know, you can tell how it's laid out and stuff like that. I did think it was a little bit generous with the tile floors. I felt like there was a lot of noisy floor in that mission, and maybe it was supposed to be you know, more of a difficult mission. Yeah, I was a little disappointed also to discover that my cool plan to, like, disable the periscopes and stuff wasn't like an optional risk reward kind of thing, but it was mandatory to get into that room and disable the alarms, because you can't actually steal the ruby without disabling the alarms. That was a little sad. Yeah, so that was a little sad. Like, I feel like I didn't feel like there were good risk-reward choices in that. Like, I didn't feel like there was an easy path or anything that you could take through this. I mean, maybe there shouldn't be, but I felt like there wasn't I didn't feel like there was, like, a risk-reward thing. Yeah, it's no Haunted Cathedral. I don't know what the point you're trying to make about the Haunted Cathedral. It has been a long time since I did the Haunted Cathedral. Is the Haunted Cathedral the one where there's, like, the friendly ghost who tells you what to do? There's some mission in Thief 1 that has, like, the friendly ghost that tells you what to do, who looks like a haunt. I didn't really entangle with the dog. In fact, I think the dog lived the entire. I never killed the dog or knocked out the dog. I never fought the dog. I think the dog. So my funny story about Haunted Cathedral is the first time I played it. Right, there's all these. There's all these haunts, right? And haunts hate light, and you can kill them with flash bombs. And like, I got a peek through the door or something, and saw the bossy ghost on the other side, and I was like, okay, I saved my game. And then it's like getting ready, and I did this thing where I ran through. Run through the door, flash bomb, flash bomb, flash bomb, flash bomb, kill the ghost. And then the ghost is totally immune to all that and says, hello there, in Dorian Hart's voice. I am a ghost that is going to tell you what to do next. And it was oh my god, I wish we could afford another model for a different ghost that wasn't so scary. Yeah, I did entangle with the dog yesterday. I pickpocketed the dude, the dog's handler. I don't think I killed the dog. There may have been some, Return to the Cathedral might be an awesome mission. I don't remember it that well, but yeah, just the, me desperately trying to kill, Brother Murus, and then having Dorian, talk back at me and be like, hello there, I'm your dungeon master, was kind of sad, but in a funny way. Yeah, the dog, I did see the dog, I did appreciate the dog and all the backbending work that had to happen. So I was wondering about the dog. I don't know if anyone knows who, but we were talking about how the dog, there's no quadrupeds in Thief. There's only arachnids. Maybe the arachnids are six-legged. I don't know. But so the horses and the dogs are arachnids that have had their geometry. They've had their extra legs. I was wondering, is the dog's mouth extra dog legs? Did they take two extra legs and make the jaw out of him so he can open and close his mouth and bark? That would have been cool to do. I don't know if they did that though. Yeah, I did not mess with the dog. I don't know if you can pet the dog. That would be awesome if you could pet the dog, but actually it'd be, there should be, they could have a mission where you bring the dog some meat or something. There's a dog and you bring it some meat and then you can pet it and then it ignores you. That would be super good. I kind of liked having to do the swap, the idle swap. But yeah, it was disappointing that you had to disable the alarms. The disabling the alarms wasn't a risk you took to get something good. It was a thing that you had to do. And I guess you could have read you could have read the briefing letter probably said that you had to disable the alarm. So, but there was a fair amount of, I felt save game precognition required to play this level. But I mean, that's kind of Thief. That's kind of Thief in a nutshell, right? And just save game. Get your rope arrow right. What else? But yeah, I mean, there were a variety of objectives. I guess I was worried a little too much about loot at the beginning. About getting my 1750. It turned out to be a lot easier than I thought. But yeah, there was good layout. The sort of DeWall, the DeWall thing. It was weird that DeWall has a sword, right? That threw me off. I did not recognize him as DeWall because he had a sword, right? He's a character who, if he even sees you, you lose the mission, right? So, he's never going to get to swing that sword, right? So why give him a sword, right? Yeah, I mean, that was kind of... yeah, that was kind of weird. yeah, just a lot of noisy ground. Like so much wood, so much tile. A fair amount of carpet, and there are a lot of hopping between carpet. Hopping between carpet seems very common. It was pretty common, I think, in Thief 1 too, and Thief 1 also. Maybe in Thief 2. I didn't actually play Thief 2. Maybe I should add Thief 2 to the list of like games I play on this stream, right? Because I don't think I've ever actually played it. I mean, I could play Thief 1 on this stream probably. You know, it's just a matter of priorities. I did finally. I'm on a little bit of a staycation this week, which is part of why I'm doing this. I did finally. So I've been trying to like clean up backlog. I did finally finish. I picked up yesterday. I picked up Tears of the Kingdom, from where I had left off, like something like 16 months before, or something terrible, maybe 18 months before, and finished that because that had been hanging over my head. So. Only took me a few hours to finish it. I was pretty close to the end, but it was one of those things, you know, those games, those open world games where it's like you get to the end and it's like there's an infinite amount of puttering you can do before the end, and you don't know how much puttering you're going to need, and so you just keep puttering forever. So I kind of did that, and then I kind of stopped playing for a while. But I came back, I did that, and that like frees me up to play more games, I feel like. Because I've been like, I don't want to start another single player thing until I finish Tears of the Kingdom. So I haven't really played much single player stuff. I've been playing a lot of Teamfight Tactics and stuff like that. I didn't finish Dishonored 2. I don't know why I didn't finish Dishonored 2. Maybe that was a puttering thing too. I don't remember. I just didn't do the last mission. I'm not sure. I don't remember why. And maybe it was just sort of like, I wasn't feeling good about streaming the whole thing or something. I don't know. Maybe that was a puttering thing too. But that's less of an open world game, right? So it's not like you could like go and collect more herbs and hit more shrines that you haven't hit, and, you know, and Great Fairy all of your armor and all of that stupidity, right? And then you come to it a year later and you forgot you were supposed to do all that stuff, and you just go to the end and it's okay. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I probably won't start the next mission, but maybe we can, maybe we'll watch the intro. And I'll probably sign off pretty early this time. Obviously, if you guys have questions, I'm happy to, you know, or, you know, you want to have anything you want to talk about, I'm happy to talk about stuff. I am going to mention that, you know, if you want to support me, you can go look for that game. I'm still bad at that. It's called Heroes Welcome. Just go get it. Here we go. Heroes Welcome. There you are. Heroes Welcome. There's my name. And then you can also look for Defense of the Oasis on Steam. You can follow me here. You can follow me on YouTube. You can tell your friends if you want to, you know, if you want to just say thank you. All right, so let's watch the intro. Let's go back. Sorry, I gotta flip my my scene back. Wait for it to. There we go. All right. Let us continue. Oh, that was weird. Okay. Let us continue. It's loud. Oh, the hammer stuff in the previous one I felt like was a little bit almost a BioShock reference. It felt almost a little bit Anne Randy with the sweat of the brow and stuff like that.
With the wall out of the picture, and with Aldrea's demise in my possession, it's now time to go after the second artifact I need to break the spell. It's a signet ring that belonged to a powerful archmage of yore, Teedir, and is buried with him in a derelict mortuary northwest of the city, beyond the
grave
mountains. The archmage is apparently the one responsible for imbuing items with magic, using an ancient scripture called Abubtiar's Tablets. The mortuary is located deep in the Hag Hill Forest, a vast woodland with a lone Hammerite road in the middle, and many highwaymen looking for travelers and cargo to plunder. The tome I found in the Keeper's Sanctuary is very specific about the location of the catacombs, but it doesn't have any useful information on what I might find inside, as well as the location of Teedir's tomb. Let's hope Abubtiar's tablets aren't too far away as well, as I'll need them if I want to stand a chance against these creeps.
Abubtiar and
Thankfully, the
Teedir
book I
both sound
found
like
in that library
backwards
should help me
names.
decipher them.
Like
This job won't be easy, and I'm
having
prepared
trouble
for the worst.
spelling them out.
I have no idea what awaits me there,
Feels like their names.
so I
are
should
something
stock up on holy
backwards.
water and other undead repellents just in case. I know for a fact upsetting the dead is never a good idea. and
Yay,
getting
grave
back
robbing.
alive is an ordeal in itself. The full moon is high in the sky, and most of the potential highwaymen prowling the area should be asleep by now. Let's do this.
Alright, that keeper, Tomespa. Oh. Strings of a special silk. So this is coming the harp back, I assume? I guess Teedir isn't Ridiot? It's not anything backwards. Above here. Rayit Bubba. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's anything backwards. Maybe it's an anagram. It feels, I don't know, kind of anagrammy. Let's see. It's the last enchanted trinket you need. Find the keepers. Oh no, find the tablets. Alright. The quiet tombs become home to more. Just used over the years. No need to harm the downtrodden and desert. So, any innocents you find, I guess? Leave as soon as your tasks are finished. Interesting. As soon as your tasks are finished, is that going to put me on a clock? There you go. Alright, so, questions. Muzzboz asks, I was wondering if you remember, Zambu's pieces were being developed, guards, a bunch of placeholder voices were recorded by devs such as Dan Thrawn, before doing any professional voice actors. Much about that. Do I remember much about that process? Dan, a bunch of us got recorded, I feel like. He was probably doing voices from the start. A lot of the time, we would do sort of like the programmer art version of voice acting, where you like do something, you know, like at the end of, I don't know if you guys saw Free Guy, that movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, and at the end there's this character, the dude, and he says, catchphrase! You know, and he says, there's 3 things I like, and it's, you know, a thing, and then it's like, and the second thing is placeholder, and the third one is third thing here. You know, so we did a lot of, like, yeah, placeholder, You know, in fact, Tim would do placeholder voices, sound effects. I remember the original. You know, there was a potion that was the air potion that would let you, you know, stay underwater longer. And the original sound effect was just Tim saying "air potion," stuff like that. So we definitely did some placeholder stuff. And the trick there is, you know, you want to do stuff that's so obviously bad that it's not kept in. Yeah, I don't know how much iteration happened, like in terms of direction. You know, I think that you know, Dan would be. I mean, I could email Dan, I suppose. Dan would be a person. You know, I feel like Dan was a big contributor to like the overall aesthetic of the game. I mean, I don't know that he was like I mean, he wasn't the creative director, but I think that he, you know, he had a lot of input into sort of like what the game should feel like in terms of you know, kind of steampunky retro thing, and in terms of what the guard should say, and how they should. There was an original demo, and I don't remember who it was. It might have been Ken Levine even, who did some placeholder audio. But there was original. We had some audio. We had like a really, really, really early demo of like a guy walking by and saying some stuff, and he would hum. He would go. And I just remember that like we had some company meeting where we were showing that demo, and we kind of knew that there was some magic there, because like everybody like who left the meeting was like humming. So yeah, that was a little. And I remember the other thing I remember about that demo was like we were using motion capture for the very first time, and it was like our first thing that we had ever first like chunk O motion capture data that we had ever used. And I remember that we had like essentially put the guard's bones through the motion capture, you know, like, so it was through the balls essentially, you know, so like you know, you got a guy wearing a suit and it's covered with like white ping pong balls. Guys like usually wearing a black suit or maybe a green chroma keyed suit, and it's covered with ping pong balls, and you're tracking the ping pong balls. You know, over time you're visually tracking the ping pong balls, and you're basically generating data for all of each individual ball, right? In motion capture, and then you have to like turn that into like joints and stuff, right? But we had essentially taken the ball and turned them in directly into the joints of the skeleton. But the problem with that, right, is the balls are on the outside of the body, right? Like so, like you have to like do some math to figure out where we can't actually see the motion cap actor's bones, right? We'd like to like we can't bombard them with X-rays while we mocap them, right? Like the balls are on the outsides of their body, right? So like this guard head was like really squat and fat because we hadn't yet done the math to figure out like where the bones are inside the flesh, and we just used like the exoskeleton essentially. We turned the exoskeleton into an endoskeleton, and so we ended up like this squat fat guy. Yeah, and maybe there are videos of that stuff. I don't know. 2D crossbow on the side as a weapon. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we did that. I don't know. Yeah. Really enjoyed the Thief series. Favorite stealth games. Nice. Thank you. That's very kind. Yeah. So, Was there another story I was going to tell? I don't remember. I don't remember if there was another story I was going to tell about that. But yeah, there was definitely iteration in-house on the voices. Obviously we got some external stuff. At that point, we had done Terra Nova, so we were kind of familiar with, like, System Shock was pretty much like our friends, us and our friends doing all the voices. I don't think we had any. Do we have any professional voices? I think we had 0. I mean, unless you count Terry. Yeah, I already did the System Shock remake. I already did the System Shock remake. You go to my YouTube channel, which is linked in Twitch. You can see me. You can watch 30 hours of me playing the System Shock remake with stories and confirming that 451 is a Bradbury reference. Yeah, so I did do the remake. In fact, I finished it, unlike my playthrough of the original. Yeah. So the voices. Yeah, I mean, so we had learned. Terra Nova was like our first experience with, working with actual actors. I think. Again, unless you count Terry, and Terry was sort of also helping. I felt like Terry was also helping Greg with the music and stuff like that. So it wasn't, so like already was working on System Shock in other ways. But yeah, Terra Nova was the first time we did like we worked with actual actors. I mean, local Boston actors. So, because we imagined we were making Wing Commander on the ground, we imagined we were playing Wing Commander on the ground, and Wing Commander 3 came out, and Wing Commander 3 had full motion video with a whole high budget video with Mark freaking Hamill and Malcolm freaking McDowell, and we're like, holy crap, the bar has gone way up, and if we're gonna do Wing Commander on the ground, they're gonna expect full motion video. And you know what, I think we knew they were gonna do it, and we shot something mostly green screen, and then I think we redid it after we saw what Wing Commander 3 actually was. I think we hired new actors, and I feel like there is an earlier version of the Terra Nova stuff that's even earlier than what we had. And what we had was it's still pretty modest in terms of cinematic quality. So what you will find on my YouTube channel is you'll find every playlist of this, every playthrough of this, and you'll find my playthrough of the System Shock remake, the remake, not 2. You'll find my playthrough of the original System Shock, which stops at about level 7 because I got sick and then I never picked it back up again. And that was kind of a bigger deal in that we had a bunch of Looking Glass folks on that was for the 20th anniversary, and I had 3 other Looking Glassers on on chat with me, on voice chat with me, and we're all chatting it up as I'm playing. So that was kind of a more bigger deal to organize. And I just I kind of dropped the ball when I couldn't keep it going. So I stopped around level 7 there. But then I did play through the whole remake. I've played through most of this, or I guess I'm now at most of this, yeah. And then I don't know if that's the I'm not gonna watch that video right now, but I don't know. Can we? I don't know how easy it is to do that. I don't have my OBS set up to, stream other people's videos or anything. So I'll watch that later and maybe get back to you when I do this again, which I will do. I will do more of this soon-ish. Well, maybe I can just, maybe I can just kill this and you guys won't see anything, but maybe I can just watch the video just to confirm it's what I think it is. No, I think this is later. Yeah, this is later than the humming demo that I'm thinking of. These might actually even be like real levels. Although, oh, that looks... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, this is later than what I was thinking of. Like, I think the thing I was thinking of was, like, had one corridor and no combat. It was like one, yeah, it was a lot, simpler than that. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got. Thank you guys for watching. How long did Thief take to make? That's kind of a hard... the hard part about answering that question is, like, knowing when we started. Like, because... and actually, I was actually talking to Casey Muratori. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like a old school game programmer, much like myself. And no, I'm going to talk about how long Thief took to make, but and I was sort of rehashing this recently, but Zimu and Sean Barrett, while we were working on CMO's Buzz, while we were working on like Flight and maybe Terra Nova, they had this idea. They kind of like were doing this thing on the side that they were going to like build a demo and kind of pitch it. And it was a multiplayer shooter. It was a hero shooter. So think Overwatch, but like, what's the 1996 version of Overwatch or the 1997 version of Overwatch, right? But it was they were definitely trying to do a, like, it's a shooter, but you're superheroes, and so you have powers, and some of you can fly, and some of you can, do area effects, and some of you, it's less about like, oh, I picked up a BFG and now I have a BFG, and more about like, oh, I have these powers. And Zimu was doing the game design, and Sean was doing the renderer. And the renderer was a portal-based occlusion renderer. Not like people mean that these days, because these days when people talk about portals, they're talking about like, like complex scenes. You have a complex scene, and then you have a portal, and then you have a complex scene, and then you have a portal, and then you have another complex scene, right? And then there's like, it's managing the occlusion between those things. But this was more like literally every like convex partition, all of the boundaries between essentially what you would call the leaves of the BSP tree were portals, and it was doing that. It wasn't using Quake style pre-computed PVS. It was doing portals. So like a Quake, or kind of like a Quake style shooter, but I mean, Quake was still more about guns and less about like, I think there was some idea of like, you had a loadout that was different from other people's loadouts, that had wacky things like you could fly. But I could anyway. But so that was kind of the very, very origins, because that was the renderer that eventually became the Thief renderer. And so at the very beginning, we knew we wanted to do. We were coming off of Terra Nova, and we were coming off of Flight Unlimited, and we knew we wanted to do the next, what we called action RPG. So what we called action RPG, which in our minds meant like mission-based immersive sim, right? Like that's what you would call that these days. Um, so we knew we wanted to do something that was not open, that was 3D first person, had was role playing in the sense that like you embodied a character and that character was in a world and that world had a story and you had like there were like the world was opinionated on who you were, right? And that's kind of what we knew. And Doug Church really wanted to do a sword fighting game. Um, and that was part of it. But we were kind of like trying to figure out sort of what action RPG meant, and we knew what we knew it didn't meant was we didn't want to make Skyrim. We didn't want to make something with stats, or anything that was not sort of like it rendered in the 3D world. We didn't want to have any gameplay that was like in numbers, kind of behind the scenes, because that had kind of bitten us in Underworld. And we just weren't ready to try and make that work. I think Zimu and Ken and John Shea were much more game to try to make that work in System Shock 2. And notably, none of them worked on Underworld. So, but yeah, so while we were doing, but that came later, right? So yeah, action RPG. We were trying to figure out what action RPG was. And so all the while we're building tech for action RPG, right? We've got this portal renderer, and then we're starting to build like an application framework, like the beginnings of an engine with the main loop and things like that. And we're starting to build the dark object system, though it's not called that yet. We're starting to think about that, lay that out. We're starting to build the editor. But all the while, we don't know what the game is yet, right? And the first version of the game, the first idea for what the game was so Doug wanted to make a sword fighting game, right? And so the first idea was a game called Better Red Than Undead, which was basically a 50s Cold War game where the Soviet Union has been overrun by zombies, and you're on loan from the CIA because you're a swords master, and you have to like go into the Soviet Union and save it from zombie hordes. And the whole thing is that like all of the modern technology doesn't work on zombies. You shoot them, they just get back up. You have to hack them to pieces with swords, right? Which is why it's a sword fighting game. And our marketing folks kind of said WTF to that. And they couldn't, did anyone want to buy that game? Sounds awesome now, honestly. I think you could make that game now, but they weren't so sure. And then for a while, it was Dark Camelot, which was an inverted King Arthur story where King Arthur is ostensibly looking for the Holy Grail, but it's sort of like, Camelot has always been at war with East Asia, right? Like it's like the Holy Grail is just this unattainable thing that is an excuse for King Arthur to sort of oppress people and say, hey, people got to make sacrifices because we're still trying to because we got to run crusades and get the Holy Grail, and the player character was Mordred, who was gonna come and overthrow again a sword fighting game where you overthrow King Arthur, and we kind of had this idea that like the Knights of the Round Table were like the bosses, and they were and they would have like, it was kind of pseudo-Victorian. You had like Merlin with a top hat with like a moon on it. There was some concept art of that, and you'd had like, the Knights of the Round Table wearing three-piece suits, but like NASCAR with like corporate logos all over them because they had all these corporate sponsors and stuff. And so like the pseudo-Victorian reverse Arthur. And our marketing team kind of said WTF to this also. And then so Dark Camelot became the Dark Project. And then we're like, we know it's the Dark Project. We don't know what that means yet, but it's the Dark Project. And then First-person sneaker. I don't know who came up with the term first-person sneaker. We mighta. I'm not sure. And then, Paul was a big advocate for doing a game where you play thief. I had actually, in the early days of my mic gain is a little bit off though. I'm gonna try and, I don't know. How's my voice? It seems like I'm hitting the red a lot, but so I think Paul was the big advocate for Thief. Paul Neurath, the founder of Looking Glass, or one of them. For the record, I did pitch the idea of a stealth game very early on in action adventure, but it kind of got shot down. But then, it became the Dark Project, and then it became Thief: The Dark Project. We didn't really know why. We have marketing to thank for Thief, and I was actually terrified of the name Thief. Honestly, I thought Thief was a terrible name for a game. Personally, I was in the total minority on this. I think I wanted to call it something like Skullduggery, or I don't know, something more evocative, right? And I was just terrified that no one wants a game you avoid everything. No, yeah. I was terrified. And the reason why I was terrified was in a vacuum, I felt like a game called Thief was going to be viewed as the first in a series about the D&D character classes, right? If we were going to make a game called Thief, then we were, eventually going to make a game called Wizard, and a game called Elven Fighter Magic User, and a game called Cleric, and a game called, Ranger, and all that stuff. I felt like that's what Thief evoked to me. And I was wrong, but that's what Thief evoked to me. And I was worried that people would see Thief and we were like, oh, I'm going to wait for Wizard. Why would I play Thief when Wizard's just around the corner? Dark Project helped in a couple ways, actually. Because of the European, French and German, and maybe others, maybe all of the eFigs games. So in the US, it's Thief: The Dark Project, but and there was already Rogue, right? D&D was D&D was huge. There were Bard. We're gonna make a Bard game. D&D was pretty big. There were D&D games going on. There was Pool of Radiance and stuff, and there was a lot of and there was gaming. Gaming was gamers. Was grognardy nerds who all played D&D, right? So but Dark Project actually helped us a lot because two things about Thief: The Dark Project. One is a lot of people who speak European languages can't pronounce thief. It's a very hard, that English th is hard for a lot of folks, and putting an F right close to it, even harder. And the other thing is that a lot of the, this is feedback that we heard anyway. A lot of the direct translations of thief tended to be more pejorative, right? Thief, the word thief was already a little bit romantic in sort of the English language. So in German it was Dark Project Der Meisterdieb, right? So it was the Master Thief. Is what it translates to. And and in French it's Dark Project La Guilde des Voleurs. So it's the Guild of Thieves, right? And so and so Dark Project, it helped that we could, in those languages, invert the title and the subtitle. It helped. Fun story. There was a so our creative director Greg LaPiccolo, of course. We he he came to us from Tribe, which is a local, well known for the area, local Boston rock band that was kind of trying to break out into the national stage, and did so with limited success. And he was interviewed very early in a German magazine. And when the German magazine came out, they referred to him as a rock musiker, right? Because he's in this rock band, right? So they refer to him as rock musiker, and so there was something. There was some demo we had to make. Greg tasked me with making some, I don't know, a special build of the game for a demo or something. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was even like we had to do some stuff for German censors, because censorship of video games in Germany, they had very strict rules about how much blood you could see, and what color the blood could be, and how many severed limbs there could be, and all of that stuff. I don't think that was quite it. No, that wasn't it. That's a different story. But there was something where there's in this demo, in the config file, it says Herr_Rockmusiker equals 1 to indicate this is the demo. And possibly you could turn it to 0 and get most of a game. But I don't remember. The story about the censorship was, I think that was Shock 2, actually, where we had to have a config file to change all the color of the blood and delete all the extraneous severed limbs and all of that stuff for Germany. And the standard in German for the thing you're supposed to not do in German is called the thing the censors were looking for was a thing called Menschenveracht, which means betrayal of humanity, or I guess it was also just translated to me as disdain for human life or something like that. And so if you go into the German version of System Shock and you open the config, open config.txt or whatever, and you find the line Menschenveracht equals 0 and change it to Menschenveracht equals 1, then you'll have all the blood and severed limbs and stuff. It's possible that Dan did the box art for Dark Project and Metal Age. Dan, it might have been. I mean, they definitely did the intro cutscene. Dan, and I think Josh Randall worked on it some. The audio and the music. I think, that a lot of that was that look. I'm pretty sure was a Dan Thrawn special. I was actually worried about I was also worried a little bit about the heavy-handed satanic imagery in our intro and our trailers. That was an era. That was a time when there was probably more concern about that. Although people are always concerned about stuff like that. So who knows? Love how Thief doesn't have a lot of UI, like menus, inventory grid, upgrade screen, stats. Puts me off. Definitely part of the magic. Yeah. I mean, it definitely was a pillar. Although, some of it, I confess, the stupid little shields, the artist like it was gonna be a health bar, like, and the artist gave me like 3D models to use as end caps for the health bar, and I was supposed to like render a health bar in the middle somehow. And honestly, like, I didn't know how to do it, and I probably should have asked for help. But instead of asking for help, I did the little shields thing instead. Actually, they were little crosses, like uh, 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 I got Tim Stelmach. He could use 3D Studio, okay, and he made me like little 3D models of little like red crosses, and I put those in, and um, I remember showing it to Greg and Greg going, okay, and I could kind of hear the disappointment. But we ended up shipping with that. I don't know if it was good or not, but because it does betray, like, it does make you think it's quantized more than it is. But yeah, I mean, they certainly took up less space, right? Than they were less obtrusive than the health shields, than a like a bar with a frame would have been. Yeah, I mean the health shields work out. And the air meter, which sadly is frame rate dependent. That Tim made me some little bubble images, and I went to town with that. Was 3DFX Voodoo the main target for Thief? 3DFX Voodoo, the main target for Thief. Not really. Thief 1, remember, had a software renderer, right? So we were kind of playing to a broad audience. We couldn't count on you having a 3D card at all. So, we had a software renderer. It could render the whole thing on the CPU. So there was 3DFX, and there was Game Blaster, Video Blaster, or something. I guess 3DFX probably was the preeminent card, like, of the cards that were targeted. Yeah, maybe. But we also knew that we needed to support software rendering, and the whole game runs in software if you needed to. DirectX OpenGL was starting to be a thing, I think. DirectX was starting to be a thing. There was a thing before DirectX called WinG. I think DirectX was a thing, but it was pretty primitive. And we might have been going straight to the 3DFX libraries. I forget what those were called. Glide? I want to say Glide was the 3DFX native library. There was WinG, which was made by Chris Hecker, but that was not for graphics hardware. That was like more of a kind of page flippy thing for games to support modes that Windows wasn't normally comfortable with, and stuff like that. And Chris Hecker built that when he was at Microsoft, and then he went on to be Chris Hecker, and work on Spore and make Spy Party and some other things, and the rest is history. Let's see. Are there any questions I missed? Comments? Yeah, I mean, the dark imagery, like the imagery of Thief and the graphics of Thief is not anything I can take credit for. The final renderer was a portal renderer, yes. Was that why the levels could be so huge? Maybe. I mean, I guess the real limitation on level size was, I mean, obviously RAM for vertices and stuff like that. I mean, it was similar to, it was very similar to Quake in terms of what it could do. And the editor was very similar to the Quake editor. I mean, it was a brush constructed solid geometry kind of thing. It was originally intended for mutable terrain, like deformable terrain, and would have had an advantage over Quake for that. But we kind of had to abandon deformable terrain when we went to when it started being a game about lighting, and when we had to do all these light maps. So yeah, I mean, the thing that limits level size is light maps and just terrain vertices and things like that. But the advantage of it is that, so previously we had done all these tile maps, right? And the disadvantage of a tile map is a bigger room takes more memory to store. And in Thief, a bigger room doesn't necessarily take more memory to store if it's simple, right? Yeah, there are some differences. Notably, if you if you imagine the floor, and you put just a little dais in the middle of the floor, right? You have a raised platform in the middle of a floor. In the to do that, it would have to subdivide. It has to subdivide the entire room so that so yeah, if your room if your room is just a square, that's a rectangle, that's just a rectangle. If your room is a rectangle with a little bit of a bench in it, right, it now has to subdivide. It has to make the convex pieces on the side of the bench and then the top, right? And if the bench is actually 3D, then there's the convex pieces in front and the convex pieces in back, and it has to break up the room so that the room is convex. And is all convex partitioned. But if you have that same room, and instead of a bench sticking into the room, you have an alcove coming out, or a ditch coming out of the room, then it's still just two. Then it's a much simpler thing because it only has to make two convex pieces. And Quake was much more agnostic to whether or not the day it was a bench or a ditch. But because basically everything has to be convex, so that if you're hiding behind the bench, or if something's hiding behind the bench, we can know that you can't see it or whatever. If you're hiding behind one side and they're hiding behind the other side, we can just know not to render. Were the tools we used for mapping creation the same that public? Yeah. Yeah, Dromed. We had Dromed. That's what we had. And it was pretty much the same as what you can get in the mod community. I think the mod community has actually made the tools a little bit better than what we had. They fixed some bugs and stuff. T-Fix we didn't have. But yeah, I mean, we used we made the game in Dromed. Absolutely. And all of that. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you can Google around and yeah, so and the reason it's called Dromed, okay, is because Dark Camelot became Dark Camel, and so it's the dromedary engine because it's a riff on Dark Camelot. And in fact, early, possibly even the final source code, if you look at the directory, it's not Proj Thief, it's Proj Cam, because it was Dark Camelot. Yeah, and so yeah, it's yeah, so Dark Camelot became Dark Camel, which became, so the editor became Dromed. Our save files, our level files became cows. I'm not sure how cows are related to camels. Yeah, cam.cfg is because it's yeah. Am I surprised that the game still has a cult following? Yeah, a little. I'm very gratified that it still has a cult following, and it's awesome that people are like making Black Parade and all of this stuff, and people were. But it's super clunky by modern standards. I mean, I'm playing this game, right? And, it's a game about falling off ledges and missing your shots and, trying multiple times to do the same thing and, all of that stuff, right? It is pretty clunky by modern standards. And so to like actually, but they're also, and the clunk, yeah, the clunk there is some charm in the clunk, right? But there's also some magic to the game, just about like, the game is about listening, that, and that, like if you're making a mod, like at the very base, you have a guard that like has a bunch of behaviors that are about broadcasting its state to you, and yeah, getting the middle of your collision model stuck on either side of a ledge. That's rough. Oh yeah, the Stelmach tutorial. There's a version of the tutorial. I don't know, like so Dramed is what you might think of as in terms of booleans. Yeah, the audio is still good. The audio design is still good. The sound propagation. I actually saw a talk on sound propagation very recently at GDC. So people are still thinking about sound propagation. Yeah, in fact, no, there was an interesting talk at GDC on, I think it was an Avatar game, I think. Was it the Avatar game? Or was it something else? I don't remember. Maybe it was, no, I think it was a couple different games. It was Star Wars Outlaws and one other game that was talking about sound propagation. And they're actually doing sound propagation on the GPU now, which is kind of crazy. Oh, using raycasting GPU. Yeah. They like using raycasting hardware to do sound propagation stuff, which yeah, whoever convinced the team to build sound propagation, it was probably Doug. But I think we all believed it, and yeah, and the audio is, it's an audio game. It's funny too, because like way earlier, every once in a while you get like crazy fan mail, right? We got some crazy fan mail. We got fan mail from a guy who really wanted to play Terra Nova, but he was stationed in Antarctica, so could he please download it? Oh yeah, Avatar, I think. Yeah, Avatar, and I think they also talked about Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, so there was like back in the 90s where you couldn't download anything, right? Like, could you please give me download access to Terra Nova, because I really want to play it. He wasn't able. We couldn't set that up. Because the internet was like, it was dial-up, and he had a really fast connection because he had a satellite connection in Antarctica, but we were not, like, there was no security, it was like we would have to like open FTP for him or something, and like there just wasn't good ways to like deploy things securely so that like no one else could get them also, right? So like it was just too risky for us to like let this guy play Thief 6 months faster. Yeah, he had fast internet. He had very low latency internet. He had very high latency internet, but fast, right? He had good bandwidth, probably terrible latency. Yeah. So, but yeah, and he just didn't want to wait the 6 months for the next supply ship or whatever to bring him Terra Nova. But one of the fan things we got, every once in a while you get people who pitch games, right? And one of the game pitches we got was basically a game with no graphics where you play a blind private eye, and it's a game that's all about just listening, right? You're a blind private eye and you got to solve the mystery just by listening. Maybe you move around a little bit. I don't know what the interface was, but like the thing he pitched was like no graphics, like blind private eye, playable by blind players, and yeah, it's just all headphones.
and one of his his pitches was like, it's virtual reality with a 50-cent headset, right? Because it's just headphones, right? Yeah, I don't know what the interface was, what he thought the interface was going to be, but just the idea of like you're listening and you can hear directional audio and you can yeah, I mean, I think that sound propagation talk may be on the internet. If the new GDC stuff, it may be on the internet, or if not, it's in the GDC vault, which means it's behind a paywall. Sorry. But they're doing, and they're not trying to make a stealth game, right? Like they're trying to make a game that sounds real. They're trying to make like kind of open worldy stuff, and they just want the sound to be coming from the right places and it to sound like the world that it is, And yes, this year, this GDC was the yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was 3 members of Tribe and Josh Randall also, who was also a musician. He had I don't know how you would describe this band. It was like an electronic industrial or something, punk called what was it called? It was called Institute of Technology. But yeah, there was a lot of musicians working on our sound. And yes, Carollo definitely did the implementation. Carollo definitely did the implementation of the sound propagation system. But I think, the need for it it might have been Doug. It might have just been the team. I mean, it might have just been like, we need, or maybe it was Tim even, like, we need technology, Yeah, I mean, and not enough is done with sound propagation, definitely. And that's the thing that makes Thief really unique, is the sound propagation. Both for, right, and it's used in both directions, right? Like it's there to put the audio sources so that you hear from the correct direction, right? But it's also it's also there to so the AI runs in what they think the direction of the sound is, right? Doesn't the sound bounce around almost like real like sound waves? It's really more like a pathfinding system, like an A-star or a Dijkstra. It's more of a Dijkstra system where it kind of floods through a sound propagation graph, where like the rooms essentially are the volumes, and the doorways are the portals, and then we kind of move the sound source to the last portal that before the listener. And there may have, if there's any kind of like material simulation, I think probably that was sort of encoded into the room. Like this room is a sound heavy room. This room is has these propagation properties. But we certainly weren't like raycasting or anything like that. We weren't like it was pretty much just like a very simple Dijkstra flood fill from the source through a I mean the talk a question about using graphics data to ray trace sound propagation on a GPU. I think they have their own I think maybe they use some of the graphics data, but I also think they have their own representation of the separate representation of the sound occluders. You don't necessarily need the same kind of detail in sound propagation as you do for rendering. Like if you're doing ray traced rendering, then you need a lot of detail. If you've got something with a like really funny shape or something, like a really crinkly shape, you need all the crinkles. to ray trace it right. But it can be kind of a sphere or a cylinder or something in sound propagation land and probably be okay. But they're doing a lot more, like, essentially doing sound propagation as a bunch of raycasts against a bunch of occluders. Although I don't think they have, and they don't do it bidirectionally yet. The AI doesn't benefit from the sound propagation yet. They want to, I think. I asked a question about that. In fact, maybe if you watch the video, you'll hear me ask that question. I don't know. But they, they're doing, a bunch of, and they have to sort of multi-thread it. Like, they can't. It's not fast enough that they can do it every frame. They have to kind of every time the listener moves enough, they have to kind of recalculate. They have to like batch it up and recalculate it and like cache it and stuff like that. I mean, like, GPUs are basically powerful, same instruction, multiple data devices. So that's just a really useful thing to have. It's useful for graphics. It's useful for AI. It's useful for sound propagation. It's useful for DSP. All kinds of digital signal processing. It's all kind of things. Anyway, it's 11 o'clock my time. And I think it's probably a good time to sign off. Thanks for hanging out with me. We didn't play much Thief, but this was fun. Happy to tell stories and answer questions and all that stuff. If you see me on, find me again. Once more, if you wanna support me or say thank you, you can check out That Board Game Heroes Welcome. You can follow me on Twitch or on YouTube or on a few other places. You can check out Defense of the Oasis on Steam. And you can tell your friends. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. Anyway, thanks for watching.